Hello, Panthers, and welcome to Degrassi Schools In, the podcast where we're going all the way from schools in to schools out. I am your host, Evie, and I'm a 25-year-old self-proclaimed Degrassi student and basically lifelong Degrassi fangirl. I would say most of my life has been dedicated to loving this Canadian show, despite the fact that I am not Canadian. It does not matter. I just love the show so much. But here's the hook. Here's the thing. I have never seen the original, the Degrassi Classic, the Degrassi Junior High, Degrassi High. I don't know where the hell Joey Jeremiah came from or like what Snake was up to in high school. I just don't know. So that is kind of what this podcast is about. I am documenting my experience watching the show for the first time. And I'm super excited to share that experience with whoever wants to listen. I'm also excited to share the experience with my guests, including today's guest, which is Jay, somebody that I met through the Degrassi Kid, Mother of All Degrassi book club, which was an amazing experience that I had this past couple of months. I met some really amazing Degrassi fans, connected with them over Linda Schuyler's memoir, Mother of All Degrassi, which if you haven't picked that up and read it, read it. It is essential Degrassi knowledge. I also just want to brag for a second that the end of that book club included all of us meeting Linda Schuyler on a Zoom call where we all got like a personal moment with the co-creator of Degrassi, which is in fucking sane. Sorry to like swear, but it was just so surreal. So shout out to Degrassi Kid for making that happen. And also shout out to Degrassi Kid for acquainting me with my guest today, Jay. We connected amazingly there, and I'm so glad that we got another opportunity to connect recording this podcast, which I'm gonna go ahead and let you guys listen to. Hello, Jay. Welcome to Degrassi Schools In. I'm so glad to have you here.
Hey, Evie, I'm glad to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
Yeah, I was happy to invite you. When I was thinking about people that I wanted on the podcast that I knew would have a lot to say about Degrassi Junior High, you were one of the first people that came to mind. One of our main interactions was in the Mother of All Degrassi book club.
I absolutely loved the book club. It was so much fun. As soon as Jocelyn, said that she was doing it, I was like, yes, this is going to be freaking awesome. I'm so excited. I had bought the book. I got like 77 pages in I don't know, like 4 days. And then like my depression kicked in and like I just stopped reading. And then there was, like a set reason to just read every single week.
I know, it was such great motivation.
It was. And then there was this whole community of other people who were reading with us. And, there were people that, like we all really clicked with. And you were awesome to be able to, like come in with every week. And just, when you invited me to be on this podcast, like I just got so excited because this was some kind of thing that like I always wanted to dip my toes into it to begin with. Because I don't really have like my own time to do this weekly or monthly on my own. But it's something that I've always really been interested in because I love Degrassi and I love talking about it and sharing my knowledge of it and whatnot. When you offered, like I felt like really like honored and like special that you invited me to be on your podcast.
Yeah, I was glad to invite you. I was so surprised by how like into the book club and how like you made me want to be more comprehensive every single week because you just came with like notes. You were always the most prepared and it just like wowed me every single time. So that made me like really know that you would be somebody who would really bring it and care when it came to like a podcast. So I'm glad to let you dip your toes into it because podcasting is a lot of work. It's very like time consuming. So I understand not being ready to venture into it on your own, but I'm glad to have you on here. I'm glad to let you dip your toes in anytime.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Of course. And I want to have guests back more than once. So I think it would be great to have you back. Not to go ahead and invite you back before we literally even have like a first episode, but I'm very excited to talk to you and I think that we have a lot of really cool stuff in common, but also I feel like we're kind of on opposite sides of the fandom, or not opposite sides, but like opposite, I don't know, sides of the spectrum in a way in terms of the fandom. Like I, for example, am very, I would say my niche is very season 10 to 12, but then also season 13 to next class. And I know that is not really, that's not your jam as much. You are all the way at the beginning, and I'm very hyper focused on the end.
I
So
did start getting into like 10 to next class. Like it took me a while. It took me a
yeah.
long time to get into.
Have you seen next class?
I did. The first
Okay.
two times I watched it, I wasn't a fan. The third time I pushed through and I was like, all right, I can see what this is about now. And then the fourth and fifth time I was like, all right, I actually like this.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. It it's not perfect. There are some, especially towards the beginning, there are some kinks that they really needed to work out. But I think seasons 3 and 4 of Next Class are some of the strongest in all of Degrassi. But I love that you're into the earlier seasons, honestly. Like I think everybody having their own little niche and their own little part that they hold dear is really awesome. So I'm glad, and I'm glad that I get to talk to you and kind of pick your brain about it a little bit. Yeah. I wanted to ask, when did you first get into Degrassi Junior High?
You would think that I would have gotten into it like when it first came out, but I actually never heard of Degrassi until I was 18 years old.
Okay.
And I was working at Cold Stone Creamery, and
Love it.
my boss was like, "Oh yeah, my girlfriend, she loves the show Degrassi." And I'm like, I've heard of that like once or twice. I'm like, isn't that like a teen show for like 13-year-olds on like Nickelodeon? And my boss was like, "No, it's for like teenagers and stuff. They talk about serious things. My girlfriend watches it all the time." Like he got
It's
like
actually,
all defensive about his girlfriend, and I'm like, dude, like I'm not insulting you. I'm just telling you like what I've seen on commercials. Like chill.
was this like a teenager or was this like a grown ass man? I'm just
It's like a
curious.
24-year old.
Okay, okay, so his girlfriend might have been a teenager, but
she
still.
might have she might have been like 19, 20, but I think she's probably like around his age.
Okay.
Because I was like 18 and
But he was
not
like,
not
"No,
to
it's really cool. My girlfriend's cool, I promise. She doesn't like a kids show." Like, it's so
and
funny.
I'm like so confused by like what's going on. So eventually, like a couple months later, I'm living with my girlfriend, and she comes out and she's like, "What are you watching?" And I'm watching my very first ever episode of Degrassi.
What episode was it?
It was Take on Me.
That is that's the Breakfast Club
Yes, it
episode?
is.
Okay. That's an interesting first episode. Did you know that that was going to be an homage to like the Breakfast Club, or did you just go in blind?
I went in blind. I turned it
Interesting.
on. Degrassi was on. I was like, okay, let's see what this is about.
Had you seen the Breakfast Club at that point?
Oh yeah,
Okay, so you understood what it was
yeah.
referencing.
I'm watching it and I'm like, who is this horrible Ellie character? And why is she recording them? And like, why is she up on the roof being like, do I scare you now? Are you afraid of me now? And I'm
It's
like,
not
this is like a horrible like rendition, like viewpoint of like people who self-harm.
it's not one of Ellie's best
No.
episodes.
And that was my introduction to Ellie and my starting point to my many, many years of dislike towards Ellie.
How do you feel now?
Still not a fan.
Okay. You know what? You don't have to like every character. As long as you
Yeah.
can like see where they're coming from and empathize with them in some way, I feel like it's fine.
Yeah, like
That's
I can see her pain and I don't really mind her in like seasons like 2 and 3. She starts going downhill in like season 4, and then they just kind of did her dirty the rest of the series.
so you started with Degrassi The Next Generation. When did you go backwards into Degrassi Junior High and Degrassi High?
See, that's where it gets weird because the next
Okay.
episode of Degrassi I watched was like I woke up at like 6, 7 o'clock in the morning, and the N was actually playing episodes of Degrassi High at like 7 o'clock in the morning. I'm watching, and I'm like, who are these punk rock chicks in the backyard with a baby?
Oh, so it's Spike, and I know she has a friend. I know it's the
Liz.
girl with the, yeah, it's the girl with the bangs and the
Yeah, and
fake
I
hair.
won't go into any details,
Yeah,
but
I
it,
don't. I know that she exists. I don't know anything about the character. Like I have. Oh yeah, you said Liz. I try not to like keep those details even in my brain when I hear them. But yeah,
It's a very hard hitting episode. That's all I will
interesting.
say.
Okay. But that caught you.
Yeah.
Okay.
So eventually I started, like catching every episode of Degrassi, the next generation that I could, despite the fact that my girlfriend was making fun of me nonstop for watching the show. I lost track of it because I moved out of her house and I didn't have cable. And like every few years I would get cable again and start binging it. And around 26, I was able to watch the complete series of Degrassi Junior High and Degrassi High. And I watched the entire thing like 2, 3 times all the way through because I just loved it so much.
You just binged it.
I did. And then I started binging the next generation, and then Amazon Prime was like, yeah, no, we're taking it off.
No, I hate when they do that.
I know, I was devastated. So I started watching that when I was about 32. I started binge watching Degrassi again, maybe 31. And started binging it and binging it and binging it. And I kept stopping around season 10. And when I finally decided to watch it all the way through, that was the year my sister passed away. Now, are we allowed to give spoilers for TNG on this
Yeah,
show?
that's fine. I talk
Okay.
about TNG and all of that all the time, so that's
Okay.
fine.
So I had already known, about Cam. And so I was aware of what was going to happen. What happened to Cam didn't really hit me because I never really connected with his character. But the reaction from Dallas really got to me.
That was such just an amazing acting moment, an amazing writing moment. That was the Cam and Dallas dynamic was just so beautiful and underrated.
Yeah.
So I definitely see the power that you found in that.
Yeah. And then, like right after that, like a season later, you have Drew losing Adam.
Yeah.
And that for me was, I mean, you were in the conversation where I talked to Linda. That
Yeah.
was so powerful for me because my sister Krista was my Adam, except, I'm in, like the trans community and she's not.
It's never a one-to-one, but it's being able to like really pull those aspects and relate to them that
Yeah. And I mean, she was my baby sister. I took care of her. I raised her. I protected her. And the thing is, like, yeah, people will laugh at, Drew's reactions, crying
yeah.
scene. But if you've ever really lost someone like that, when you first find out that someone's dead, you can't always produce full tears.
Yeah. I never liked people criticizing that or like joking about that acting moment.
Yeah,
It's
because
just
honestly, I thought he pulled it off really well. And then people will also criticize Dallas for walking out of the room. And I thought it was actually really respectful for Dallas to walk out of the room because that was a family moment.
people nitpick about the strangest things because yeah, I think I that scene to me is still so very powerful. The scene of Drew and his family finding out about Adam. Like
Yeah.
I can picture it in my head. I can hear the music in my head. Like people love especially to criticize seasons 13 and 14, but I'm glad that you were able to find
Yeah.
some comfort in those storylines.
Oh, yeah. I found comfort in so many different storylines and just found like Solstice in so many different seasons and so many different characters. And I think that's why there are so many characters that I can't hate despite the entire fandom hating them. Because I can see their pain, and despite the fact that some of the characters never got full character development or true character arcs, you can see that they tried more than some of the characters who didn't try but still get forgiven.
Yeah, and some characters just weren't given the screen time. Like there's only so much screen time that you can give that they could give to each character, and sometimes storylines got cut that was like out of their control. Like you never know. I feel like people see things very surface level sometimes and they don't think about all of the many like things that go into those storylines and the characters and all that kind of stuff. Especially thinking about the fact that it's representing like teenagers. I'm not going to get mad at a real teenager for being like problematic and for making a mistake. That's part of growing up. And I feel like Degrassi is supposed to represent growing up.
Absolutely.
I mean, for me, one of my favorite characters is Esme. I know that she's problematic. Like, I know that she did some messed up things, but they were clearly building to something, and it didn't get seen through. And I'm not going to hate on a character for being unhealed when they never got an opportunity to heal, you know? Yeah,
See,
I
I
don't know.
don't hate Esme. I am triggered by it.
That's fair.
A lot of people are like, if only she got the help. And I won't deny, maybe in the future she would have wanted help.
Yeah, but you
But
have to want.
at that point in time, it genuinely seemed like she didn't want help and that she got pleasure out of messing with people
Yeah,
because she was offered help by multiple people and she was seeing a psychiatrist and she was prescribed medication and she wasn't taking it. She gave
yeah,
her medication to Miles. You know, Miles offered to take her to his psychiatrist. Zig offered to get her help. So many people offered her help, and she either didn't want it yet or wasn't ready. And she was just blindly using people.
yeah. I think she was a character that could have benefited from like some inpatient help where she was kind of isolated from the people that she was, because she was clearly had some toxic relationships that she needed to untangle herself from and just isolate and focus on herself. Because yeah, I love her, but she definitely had some work to do, and they did not get a chance to show that work. So they left her in a really weird place, which is really unfortunate.
Yeah, she reminds me honestly a lot of a more, and I don't want to say damaged, but that's
She's,
the best word I can
yeah,
think of. A more damaged
or
version of
traumatized maybe.
Valerie from Beverly Hills
Oh,
90210.
okay, I haven't seen that yet.
That's a
That would be
really
cool.
good show, like the
I've
original
heard
one.
really good things about it. Now I'm curious.
But the whole thing is with Valerie, is they gave her a whole backstory.
Yeah, and Esme, and also a thing about Esme is that I have been writing a fan fiction that involves Esme for like 3 years that has a lot of backstory and a lot of like it's an alternate universe kind of thing where a lot of other stuff has gone down. So I think that definitely colors my viewpoint of the character. I haven't rewatched Next Class in a while, so I might be living in my fantasy world a little bit where she's a little bit more healed than she was on the show. But I wanted to ask you, who are your favorite Degrassi characters?
I definitely love Rick.
Okay. From
He,
Degrassi Junior High, Rick Monroe. I have not
yeah,
met him yet.
Rick Monroe is absolutely one of my top favorites.
I'm excited to meet him.
He's basically the original Sean.
Okay. And I will admit I'm not a huge Sean fan. So I'm curious to see if I'm gonna like Rick. I'll
He's
give
so,
him a chance.
so adorable.
I like Craig. I like Craig. I'm mutuals with him on like Instagram and TikTok, and he seems really cool. But I didn't like Sean that much, so I'm curious. And it didn't have to do with like the actor or anything like that when it came to Sean. I just didn't really like his storylines that much. I didn't really like what they did with him.
Yeah, no.
But is he just kind of like the same archetype, like the troubled bad boy?
Yes, but he's more genuine, and that's all I'm gonna say because I don't want to give you
Yeah, I
any.
don't want to be spoiled, but I am
Exactly.
curious. Yeah, and I think I'm meeting him in a
Very.
couple of episodes. Yeah, I know. I think he's introduced in the cover up from what I know, which is an episode after my next episode. So,
He's
I'm
introduced
ex-
very, very soon.
okay. So, is he your favorite Degrassi Junior High character?
Probably males would be Rick and Joey.
Okay. What
I
about
love
females?
Joey. I know he's a little troublemaker, but if I was in high school, I mean, or if I was in, junior high, they would have been my crushes.
Fair.
Because at that point in time, I identified as bisexual, and I would have been following both of them around like puppies. And Joey probably would have made fun of me because I probably wouldn't have been cool enough for him.
Yeah, Joey, I haven't gotten an opportunity to be fully endeared by him other than thinking that he's very goofy, but I'm like he's kind of a jerk. I know he gets better, but right now I'm side-eyeing him still a little bit. especially because I think Arthur is like the cutest thing on earth, and I don't like seeing him being bullied.
I love my Arthur. Like, I genuinely do. I
I
love
want to
Arthur.
hug him. He's
Arthur
so sweet.
Kowalski.
Arthur and Yick are like so sweet, and I love them so much. They're maybe my favorite two male characters right now. Hello, Panthers. Sorry for the little interruption here. We are just about to get into the episode specific discussion, but I just wanted to take a moment to talk about the Degrassi Kid Network, which is the sponsor for this episode. So, the Degrassi Kid Network, in short, is basically a project that Jocelyn, the Degrassi Kid, my best friend, and just the Degrassi fan, has put together to kind of use their resources as a Degrassi fan and as a creator to help other people who want to make Degrassi fan projects make their dreams come true. But yeah, Jocelyn has been an amazing support and resource as I'm starting this venture for myself, and I cannot recommend the Degrassi Kid Network enough. If you have any fan project that you really want to launch and feel like you need help with, I would really recommend approaching Jocelyn with it and seeing if they can help you in any way, because they have helped me so much, and I would love to see more people join the network. All right, that's my little spiel. Let's get back to the episode. Let's get to the episode, actually, because we've kind of just been talking. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get into the episode discussion today because I'm having so much fun just talking Degrassi with you, but I also want to make sure that we cover the episode at hand. The episode that we're talking about today is The Big Dance, and that is season 1, episode 2, which aired on January 25th, 1987. Can I ask if you were born in 1987?
I was born June 28th.
In 1987?
Hmm?
Okay, so you were born after this episode aired.
Yep.
And I was not yet a thought. I don't think my parents had not met yet. So that's fun. The episode description. When Voula's father forbids her from attending a dance, Voula takes matters into her own hands and tries to sneak out. Stephanie, meanwhile, experiments with liquor, gets sick at the dance, and has to leave her date behind. Okay, so a lot happened in this episode. I fell in love with Voula last episode, so I love that we got a chance to focus on her a little bit and see a little bit more of her home life. Can I ask you how you feel about Voula?
Voula is a character that I go back with.
Okay. Yeah, and I only know this episode and last episode, so I am positive on her so far, but I'm sure a lot will happen. Just without spoilers, I'm curious why you're back and forth.
I think she's judgmental.
Fair. She reminds me of very like early Claire Edwards very much in terms of being the like reserved, judgmental friend that prides herself a little bit on being. I don't even think she prides herself on being judgmental. I think that's kind of how she was raised. I don't know. I find her very interesting.
I can see that a little bit.
And I think I would have thought that she prided herself on being judgmental from last episode, but I think getting the insight from this episode and learning how, like what her father is like, I think she kind of maybe even fights against being judgmental, but it is so much ingrained into her almost.
Yeah.
That's what I'm seeing.
When it comes to the previous episode, I find the selfish baby line just so hilarious. I'll shout it at people sometimes, like when I'm having joking arguments with them and they have no idea what I'm talking about. I'm like, you're just a baby, a selfish baby. And they're like, what are you talking about? And I'm like, oh God, you just need to watch Degrassi Junior High to understand.
Okay, but let me ask you a question based on the last episode too, because I'm assuming I know that you listened to my last episode.
Yes.
I feel like you know what I'm about to ask. Do you think Voula is a little queer coded? Or
I can see where you and Josh were coming from with that.
Okay, I'm interested to see your viewpoint now because I feel like we're getting to know.
Well, I can see it. I personally disagree. That does not mean that you guys are wrong.
Yeah, it's everybody's personal interpretation of the show. That's what I love about it.
I see it more as she is more grounded than Stephanie.
Okay.
But in the ways of the world, she's also much more immature.
Okay.
Like, she wants to date boys, she wants to do older things, but she gets angry when she gets left behind.
Okay. So she's more jealous that Steph can kind of do what she wants to do, what Voula
And
wants to do.
and she's also jealous that Steph is doing things without her. That's my best friend.
She feels like
My
Voula
best
or Steph is like moving forward without her.
Yeah, Steph's forgetting me. Steph doesn't want to be my friend anymore. And then
Okay.
I feel like she's very like the whole holding of the grudge in the next episode. Oh, the president is talking to me.
That's exactly what I was
Oh,
about to
I'm
do.
so lucky. This president is talking to me.
You know, she rehearsed that in the mirror that morning and she really was like, I'm gonna eat Steph up with this line. Like, she's gonna come up to me and I'm gonna, like, oh, the president's talking to me. Like, she really was so excited to do that. She really thought that she ate with that. It's so funny.
And like Steph's just like, what? I said I was sorry.
Steph's face was so funny in that scene too. She was just like, oh, okay. Anyway, are you done doing what you're doing? Because, like, I'm ready to just talk. Like, I understand that I fucked up, but, like, that was funny. I agree. She is very dramatic, and
She's
she
dramatic and juvenile.
yeah, and she likes to act like she is above it, which is very funny. But I love that. I love a precocious child. Like,
And she definitely is, and which is what is very, junior high about it, which is why I like the show. It's very different than, like the later seasons of Degrassi. You,
yeah.
you still have that childlike sense of wonder. You still have the innocence.
Oh yeah, like Aislinn Paul and Luke Billick were like 23 acting in like seasons 13 and 14. I don't know if they were actually that old, but like they were adult. Like it felt very young adult in the
Yeah,
later
it
seasons.
was a telenovela.
Yeah, and I liked the vibe of it, but I can see if you're going into Degrassi wanting the more like juvenile, childlike vibe, then seasons 10 through 14 are probably not going to be as much your thing. It all depends on what you're going into the show for.
Yeah,
I really love hearing your viewpoint on Voula's character, and that's what I like about doing like the concept of doing this podcast is hearing different people's interpretations because my interpretation is 100% a projection of my own experiences, and I think that can be like the best thing about the fandom is and talking about the show is projecting your own experiences and relating it to your own experiences and talking about it in that context. And I feel like we did that a lot with the book club too. We talked about our own experiences and kind of filtered through that lens.
yeah, definitely.
I wanted to ask in relation to queer characters, were there any characters in this episode that gave you queer vibes at all?
Total queer vibes in this episode? No. A queer advocate type vibe? Yes.
Okay.
And that would be Lucy.
Yes, I can see that. Lucy is very modern. She's very like she's probably my favorite character in this episode, and I feel like that's a popular opinion.
Lucy is
She's the
amazing.
standout.
Lucy is the best. She's one of my favorite characters. She's probably my favorite. No, she's one of my favorite female characters. It's really hard to narrow them down for the female.
Yeah. Yeah, did you ever answer? I don't know if I ever officially asked you if you had like a top two favorite female characters from Degrassi Junior High and Degrassi High. It's too hard.
It really does bounce around. So I'm like, oh, I love this character. No, I hate this character. No, I love this character. Oh, I can't believe you did that. Like,
Yeah, it's really hard to say that you love a character through like their whole arc because characters
mm-hmm.
do a lot of the characters do a lot and have a lot of moments, and I love the characters that have a lot of ups and downs.
Like, I love Lucy through her entirety.
Okay, I'm excited for her. I feel like I never really see any negativity towards Lucy in the fandom.
Lucy is great. Stephanie, I just like. I can't really explain it. I think it's just
She's just cool.
not even because she's cool, just because, like you just you've seen the first two episodes. Like, she's just
Yeah,
continuously messes up.
I like her. I'm
Yeah,
excited to see where she goes. I really don't know what to expect from her. I feel like
she,
she's gonna get a lot of chaos, like a lot of chaotic plot lines.
yeah,
She feels like the main girl, and the main girl always gets attacked.
yeah. I won't say anything.
Yeah, I don't want to know, but that's my like prediction. And
Yeah.
I love throwing the predictions out there because I feel like I would
But
love
did
to
you
hear
notice
theirs.
who Joey was dancing?
Yes, Caitlin.
Yes,
I lost my mind. I thought that was so cute. And I don't want to know. I wasn't expecting that to happen so early, but I have a feel I don't want to know. But like my brain was like, is that a seed or is that like a start? I don't know. Like I don't know how close that is to the start of that because I kind of I don't know.
I think it's just
My,
a little random thing.
yeah, my brain is like I don't there's no way to like say that without asking for spoilers and I don't want to know. But I that took me by surprise for sure. And I also noticed Arthur and Voula dancing, which I thought was adorable. And I didn't think it was like a romantic thing at all. I
That's my
didn't.
crackship.
Okay. I was wondering, yeah, you mentioned that in our messages and I was like, keep it for the recording. I don't want to know. I think they would be really cute. I think they would be really wholesome.
They
Me,
would.
when I saw them dancing, I wasn't like, oh, either of them has a crush at all. I was like, it felt like, oh, like that's my older sister's friend. Like that's somebody safe and comfortable from Arthur's point of view. And Vula, yeah, I don't get the vibe that Vula is like really wanting romance with a man or not a man, a boy. A man, sorry. Um I don't I don't get the vibe that Vula's really looking for that yet. But from your point of view, do you think Vula was like Arthur's cute?
From my point of view, she seemed happy to go with the dance. She
You think
seemed
she was
happy to be asked to dance. She was smiling.
my thought when I saw that was like she was nervous to be at the dance in general. She felt kind of like awkward being there kind of like by herself and she was happy to kind of have a distraction. But now I want to rewatch it with that in mind and see because I'm open to it. Like I said, they are very wholesome. They would be very cute.
Yeah, and my thought process to it is, like, how often do best friends, like brothers and sisters, like get together?
Miles and Lola.
And like Arthur is such a sweet boy.
Yeah.
And like he's that straight and narrow kind of guy.
I feel like if if any boy in the whole school, Vula's parents would approve of Arthur. Like of anybody, Arthur is like the best boy to bring home.
Yeah.
Varthur? Is that the ship name? Is it? I like that better than
Yeah,
Ayla.
Arthur could work.
Varthur's cute.
I don't
So
I don't like any of Spike's
I don't know any of
relationship names.
Spike's. I don't even know. Is Spike? Are they Snike?
There's oh god, they're so weird. Like there's
Because it's Christine and Arthur. I don't imagine they mix those.
yes they do.
Do they? Why? Nobody calls them either of those names. Why would they do that? What are they? Crowther? Oh,
Shane.
sorry. Did I say Arthur? I meant Archibald.
Well
Oh, wait,
you
Spike and Arthur? Do people ship that?
no.
Okay. I think I said Arthur when I meant Archibald.
Of you know the name of Emma's dad, right?
Yeah, Shane.
Yeah. The
I'm
ship
trying to
name
think of
is
it.
Shistine.
What is it?
Shistine.
Shistine? That's horrible.
I know.
And that's a serious ship name? That's not like a meme? Shistine?
I'm really gonna look it up again right now because I swear to God,
Shike is cute. Why would
I
they not
know.
Shike? And then Snake for Snake and Spike.
I typed in Shistine,
Shistine. Shit stain. That's horrible.
Shistine, Chain, Shike, or Spain.
Yeah, I was gonna say
It,
Spain, but that's Spinner and Jane.
yeah. But Shistine is the first one.
Speaking of Shistine, one of the facts that I have for this episode is actually that Spike and Shane are seen kissing in the background of this episode, which apparently establishes their relationship, which I didn't see them in the background of
I
this
never
episode.
noticed that before you added that either, and I like
Yeah, I never noticed that, but that's a fun little Easter egg that they put in there. So that's the first time that you know that Shistine is together, is that they kissed in the background of this episode. And um I'm horrified to know that that's the ship name, and I'm really disappointed in the fandom for that.
Well, you got to think about this. This is like 80s, like names. Like,
True, but still, Snike is right, or Shike, sorry, Shike is right there.
yeah.
That's hilarious. I wanted to ask you in regards to later plots in the series, not in Junior High or Degrassi High, but in this episode, were there any parallels that you saw between this episode and later plot lines that occur in Degrassi?
Well, obviously, there's the whole, the three girls getting drunk, and
Yeah,
then, which is the twins and Stephanie getting drunk.
yeah.
And Lucy was like, "Yeah, go ahead. Like my parents are loose." And then you see, like them all drinking from the bottles, and Lucy's immediate eyes are like, "Oh God, what did I do?"
Yeah, at least Lucy wasn't like intending to do something in the same way that Paige in the later episodes was definitely
Yeah,
plotting. Lucy was
yeah,
just like, oh, I don't care, and then it got out of hand really quickly.
yeah. But like as soon as like they started drinking, because they're like party,
Yeah, she's
and
like,
like
you guys can have like a sip, I don't care. And then they're like way overdoing it. It's
yeah, and then like Lucy is like totally shocked by what they're doing and like
yeah.
embarrassed. And then you've got Paige getting Terry drunk because she's jealous and she wants Spinner for herself and
Yeah. I
Spinner
like
for
I
Terry.
like how they always do the plot line a little bit differently. Like they'll have the same basic idea, but they'll twist it up every single time. So
Yeah.
you get the same idea, but it's definitely different intentions when it comes to Paige. Early Paige is
Well, early Paige is like early Joey.
and it's interesting because I see Paige vibes with Lucy in this episode, but not early Paige vibes. More like when Paige becomes more of like the cool older sister vibes. I see that
Yeah.
in Lucy this episode.
Actually, you know what? I take my comment back. I
Okay.
think that Joey is more of a Spinner. Or Spinner,
Yes.
yeah.
And Wheels is giving me very Jimmy vibes.
Except much less cocky.
Yeah. He's much more of a shy boy.
Yeah, he's like the good boy.
I like Wheels.
Wheels is a sweetheart, and he reminds me a little bit of a boy I had a crush on and actually dated for like a week in middle school.
He has that energy. He's so sweet. I'm
Yeah,
looking forward to seeing where he goes. I've seen the later pictures of him and I'm like he makes a big change and I'm excited to see that transition because he's such a sweet little boy and he turns into he looks like he would hang out with Sean and Jay in the later seasons.
yeah, he really does look like
That's the
that.
vibe I get. And I don't know if he actually worked. I don't know if he actually works at like a mechanic's shop or something, but he gives me those vibes. And we're gonna lip zip. So good to know. I his name is Wheels. Why would
And
you not work in an auto shop?
well, his last name is Wheeler.
Well, I would go into the auto shop and be like, my name literally has wheel in it. How could I not? Uh okay, so let's see. Is there anything from this episode that has happened to you? Like, did you sneak out? Did you get
Oh yeah,
drunk? Yeah, you
oh
snuck
yeah.
out.
I snuck out all the time.
I I did not.
Were you a good girl?
Yes, apparently.
In middle school, I was a good girl.
And then you grew up.
Um, no, and then I rebelled.
I like skipped school sometimes, but I never got caught and I never really did anything that bad. I like smoked cigarettes and like smoked weed.
I was a bad kid in high school. I would definitely speak out. My mom never caught me high, even though I was stoned all the time coming home.
Well, if you're stoned all the time, then they can't tell that you're stoned.
Yeah, when I came home sober, she was like, "You're high, aren't you?"
Like, nope,
And I'm
not
like,
this time.
I literally looked at her and I was like, the one time I come home sober,
So you definitely snuck out.
definitely snuck out, definitely skipped school,
Yeah.
definitely got drunk, definitely smoked.
So do you think Voula was wrong to lie to her parents about where she was? It's a very complicated situation.
It is a complicated situation because, like, as a teenager, I'd be like, fuck yeah, like, she should totally lie to her parents about where she's going because, like, she should totally be allowed to go. And,
Well, I
like,
mean, she technically didn't lie about where she was. She just lied about what was happening. Like, she told him
yeah.
about where she was. I realized I framed it as, like, where you were. She didn't lie about that part. She just bent the truth about what was actually going on. So
Oh,
do you think she was wrong for that?
honestly, not really.
No? It's kind of justified, honestly.
It's
And I,
not like she had, well, you don't know the character yet, so I'm not saying anything.
okay.
But it's not
That's
like she has somebody in her family who she could go to and talk to and be like, listen, like, dad's being unreasonable, like, can you please talk to him for me? Or
Yeah, I
mom,
don't know is
you know,
if her mom is not in the picture. She wasn't in this episode. I don't want to know, obviously, but the
yeah.
mom was mentioned but not featured in this episode,
I
which
think
I
her mom's around. I just don't think we see her.
okay. Yeah, she just wasn't a factor in this episode. It
Yeah.
would have been interesting to see her go to her mom and be like, "Dad's being unreasonable," but
Well, I
that
mean,
didn't
like,
happen.
you've seen my big fat Greek wedding, right?
I have not. No. I have not. I love Mamma Mia, which is similar.
Oh my god, you need to see my big fat Greek wedding.
I do. I've heard that I would love it, and I feel like I'm coded as like a person that would enjoy that movie because I feel like people are always shocked that I haven't seen it.
It's on Max right now.
I don't have Max.
I will freaking like message you like my login info so soon
Okay,
watch this movie
to
and
make
you
sure
can
that I
watch
see.
it.
Okay, but what is the relation with my big fat Greek wedding?
Okay. The mother is explaining to the daughter that like the father thinks he's always right and everything, and how the mother is gonna work on the father. And she's always talking about how the father is the head of the household. And
Okay,
she's
so it's a
like,
very like Greek culture thing.
yes. And she's like, the father is the head of the household, but the mother is the neck.
Okay, so that it holds up
And
the
and
head.
the mother and the neck turns the head in the direction it wants
Oh.
it to go.
Okay, so I would be curious. Yeah, I want to know more about their family dynamic now, if that's sort of Greek culture. Because yeah, it felt very patriarchy.
It is.
Okay. Yeah, I'm curious to see how much more we explore that dynamic.
You
Because
get a
I
few
was
other great characters. I mean, like throughout like all of like the Degrassi series, like you get Riley, you get
yeah.
a few more in Degrassi High, Degrassi Junior High.
Yeah, it's interesting that there is a good deal of Greek representation. I wonder what the deal is with that.
I think when Linda first started teaching, she had quite a few Greek students.
Oh yeah, Jocelyn did talk about how she had a Greek student that inspired Stephanie K.
Yeah,
So interesting. That was just kind of one of the cultures that she learned about and ended up representing.
yeah. There's one character though, I'm not gonna say, like fucking hilarious.
Okay. That's a Greek character? Interesting. I'm excited. When Vula's dad came into the dance, I was kind of expecting him to turn around a little bit when he saw what was going on. Like it was very she was on stage like with a teacher. It was very clear that it was like a school sanctioned event. I found it kind of I get that she was still lying to him, but I found it very interesting that he wasn't swayed even a little bit.
Yeah,
I guess that shows how strict he is because I feel like any other parent would be a little bit more reasonable and be like, okay, yeah, you lied to me. You shouldn't have lied to me. But like, I see that you're doing a good thing. So it's very interesting that that's that dynamic. I wonder, like, for example, if I think about it, like, I feel like the Bendari parents would maybe come around in a moment like that. So maybe that's just in a more modern storyline. A parent would be a little bit more reasonable and have a little bit more leeway versus back in the 80s, they weren't going to give the character the same amount of leeway.
It could be the parent or
I
the
think it's
gender.
I
Because if
don't
you think about it, like, let's say it was, yeah, like, let's say it was Sav. Even Sav, like when he came clean with the car.
yeah, true. They were still like you shouldn't have lied. So
Yeah.
it's true. It's interesting to see those representations of parents that very much won't let the kids have any sort of power. It's especially
That's even a
interesting.
similar storyline there if you think about it.
Yeah, it really is. I'm like thinking about it. I'm like, that is a very interesting, like very similar storyline. And it's very interesting contrasted against, for example, Lucy's character, who she's a latchkey kid, which are you familiar with that concept? Were you a latchkey kid? Did you were a latchkey kid?
I
Yeah.
was like, they did.
Okay, so did you feel like that was pretty representative of your experience as a latchkey kid?
Well, I had to raise my sisters too.
Okay, so yeah, Lucy's an only child, so it's a little bit different.
Yeah. Unfortunately, like, I wish that, I mean, like, I'm glad that, mm, it's hard to explain. Like,
Yeah,
it would have been sad to see, but at the same time, I wish that we had seen more of
a latchkey kid
who had to
who's
take
taking.
care of their siblings.
We saw. I was gonna say not Sod necessarily. We saw Sod taking care of his little siblings in next class, but that was when he was with a host family, which is a little bit
Yeah.
different. Yeah, because even with Jimmy, who I think is very similar in terms of being like a latchkey kid who's left alone a lot, he's by himself all the time. He doesn't have anybody else to take care of.
Yeah. And then, I mean,
So,
like, you have Emma, but Emma really only takes care of, like, her little brother
yeah, like Spike's around.
Snake had cancer.
Yeah,
Other
Spike
than
and Snake
that,
are around.
yeah,
Like,
other than that, they're both always around.
there's not really anybody with like a little sibling that they have to take care of. I'm really
Yeah.
going through all of it in my mind. There's really not. It would have been interesting, for example, to see like Alex with a little sister or something like that. That would have been, or Jay. Now I'm just like going in my mind like who it would have been interesting to see that storyline with, but it really didn't exist within
The only one it would have been Sean's older brother, but he was already
Tracker.
grown.
Yeah. Yeah, Tracker and Sean had that dynamic a little bit, but it was from Sean's perspective and we barely saw them because Tracker pieced out. Tracker just like I'm just connecting all of the Degrassi things right now. I'm like, it was interesting how they would bring in because they had that with Jenna too a little bit, and then Jenna's brother
Yeah, Jennifer
pieced
was like,
out.
okay, peace. Like, where's like
Hey,
what?
you're pregnant. Bye. Like, fuck,
He's like, well, it's a
dude.
good thing he's got a great uncle, and you're like,
Apparently not. Uncle fucking sucks. Like,
for real.
dipped out. I guess Jenna technically kind of counts, although she got bounced around to Casey's and then Allie's. And she didn't, oh no, she didn't have a little sibling. This is just a whole ramble at this point.
Yeah, so
Um,
there was no latchkey kid with latchkey siblings.
yeah, that would have been really interesting to see. And now I'm kind of sad that that wasn't represented. I never really noticed, you don't really notice the holes until somebody who wasn't represented talks about it.
Yeah,
Like you feel like the show is very comprehensive and like covers a lot of stuff, but there's so many people in the world and so many different situations that haven't gotten represented yet.
yeah.
So it's exciting to think about a future Degrassi where more things can be represented.
I really hope they really do a reboot.
I really do. I'm hopeful. I'm fingers crossed. I'm really hopeful because I want it so bad. I think we need it. Hello, Panthers. Another little quick ad break before we get to the last segment of the episode. I just wanted to promote a few things that I love. I'm not officially sponsored by anybody else or anything else, but I just wanted a little space to talk about the things that I want to promote because this is my podcast and I can do that. So, first things first, I want to talk about the Degrassi Kid Discord, which you're going to hear me continue to talk about because it is one of my favorite things. It's basically an amazing community where Degrassi kids, yeah, I meant Degrassi fans, but Degrassi kids from all over can connect and talk Degrassi and pretty much everything else. A lot of us connect on all sorts of things, and it's awesome. It's my favorite social outlet. It is probably the place that I have felt the most accepted and connected with people, and I'm just really grateful. So, yeah, I just wanted to boost up the Degrassi Kid Discord. The link will be in the description for this episode. That's my little plug for the Degrassi Kid Discord. And the last thing that I'm going to plug, I have a Degrassi Etsy shop. I have run it for about 3 years now, and I just kind of upload little Degrassi inspired goodies that I come up with in my little brain. Evie Treasures is my Etsy shop. Go check it out if you haven't already. Go order something. Use code Degrassi Kid for 20% off. I always love to treat people right, especially if you let me know that you follow me on social media or now you listen to my podcast. I will hook you up because I love sharing Degrassi merch with people, and it's just one of the other ways that I love to show my love for the show. So I only really have next generation inspired stuff right now. But when I've watched Degrassi Junior High and Degrassi High a little bit more, I think that's subject to change. So keep an eye out. And yeah, that's my little plug corner. Now back to the last little bit of the episode. Hope you guys are enjoying. Are there any quotes from this episode that you liked particularly?
I really liked it when Stephanie and Lucy were talking. You're like, yeah, I know where you're going.
Please, Stephanie, this is the 80s.
Yes.
Have you ever asked boys out? She's like, yeah. Come
And
on.
and like they don't turn you down. It's like, please,
No.
maybe this is the 80s.
I love Lucy's confidence so much. I don't have Lucy's confidence. And
No, do I?
no, I've never had Lucy's confidence. I don't think I ever will. And I love that for her. I do wonder how much of it is projected and how much of it, to me, it seems very authentic, but I'm curious to see later down the line if it's projected. Cause whenever there's a character that is very confident, I'm always very curious what's behind it.
Yeah.
She could just be really cool because she just seems like she's really cool. So I'm excited. Lucy is probably one of the characters that I'm most excited about. I don't know where she's going, but I love her vibe.
Trying to think if there were any other lines that I really like.
Yeah.
I find the Degrassi crazy dance hilarious because you never hear of any TNG crazy dance.
I know. Where did that tradition go?
Why did they stop? Like,
I just want to know, who do you think won the crazy dance?
well, I think that Stephanie K's run to the bathroom should have won.
That was the craziest. Yeah. Her and Wheels were so cute before everything went down. I am hoping she didn't mess that up.
I did like the little girl in the wheelchair. She looked really excited.
Oh, she was so cute. I loved seeing everybody dancing crazy. It was a very middle school moment to just see everybody having a good time. Yeah. I'm mad that they didn't show us who won. How are you going to set up a contest and then not give me the satisfaction of knowing who was the most demented Degrassian, who was the best dancer?
It was funny because I just sit there and think about it, and I'm like, that would have been perfect for when they have the 80s dance, and Snake is doing his flashbacks in season 2 of TNG, and
yeah, they should have had the crazy dance.
He should have done a Degrassi crazy dance, and and then Emma could have been furious about something as embarrassing as a crazy dance.
I'm so excited to see that episode now after I've seen Degrassi Junior High and Degrassi High, or just all of TNG, to see all of those little references, because I was too young to pick up the references anyway. They just kind of flew over my head, but especially since I hadn't seen Degrassi Junior High or Degrassi High. So I'm excited to have more of a connection to those scenes. Because Snake always just gave me goofy dad energy. They were only 28 in Next Generation, which they always seem older to me. Do they always seem older to you?
Well, quite a bit of the cast was older
Okay. Did they retcon ages? Why was it, or were they
than
just,
they retconned
or retconned
they
time?
retconned Emma's age by a year. So Emma was actually supposed to be in like Ashley's class.
Okay, but it makes sense why they would age her down to start her as young as possible so that they have the most time for storylines.
Yeah.
Because starting her in
Um,
eighth grade, you don't have as much time.
exactly. And the
Thinking
actress who
just,
plays Spike, she was actually the oldest of the cast. So when she was playing like a 28-year-old, she was actually, I think, like 32.
okay, that's not that big of a difference, but yeah, they just all seemed older than 28 to me.
Yeah, and like Stacy Mistison is, I think, like a year younger than Spike. Joey's like a year younger than Stacy, and then like Snake is actually maybe like a year older than his character.
And they were the ages of their characters when Degrassi Junior High and Degrassi High were happening, or were they a little bit older?
No, no, this is all accurate.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, interesting. I always wondered why they seemed older to me. Because even
because
as I'm like reaching 28, I'm like, they seem like early 30s,
yeah,
which makes sense
it,
because they are.
yeah, because Spike was, I think, 18 by the time Degrassi High started.
Okay, so yeah, she was a little bit older.
Yeah.
That makes sense. So Degrassi Kid actually provided some fun facts for this episode because there wasn't that much trivia actually online when I was searching. So I'm glad that we have Degrassi Kid as a source. One of the fun facts that Degrassi Kid provided for this episode. So, when Pat Mastroianni was auditioning for the show, he was only 13 years old. A flyer was sent around his school inviting kids to try out for a new TV show. At this point, he had only done some modeling gigs, and it said, actors wanted, no experience necessary. Pat said, my parents mailed it in, and I was one of 500 kids who auditioned. I had a one paragraph monologue, and Kit Hood and Linda Schuyler were the producers. I was terrible, but they said, you look like Joey and you have the energy, we'll mold you. Stephen Brogren apparently also auditioned for Joey, but Pat was a better fit. And Snake was written specifically for Stefan. Did you know that fact about Pat and Joey?
I knew the fact about
Stefan and Snake? I had heard that
yeah,
before, but I didn't know the story behind Joey, which I
I
found
didn't know the
really
story behind Joey either. I thought that was really cool when I
I
read.
that makes a lot of sense, honestly. He gives the energy of like a child model who's like very good at like hamming it up, but he doesn't necessarily have the acting skills yet, but I
Hmm.
still think he's so adorable and he does what needs to be done for the character. Honestly.
Exactly,
So
like he's perfect at it.
I I do love Joey. He's a little shit, but I love him and I look forward to seeing his character deepen a little bit.
That's what I love. I love the fact that he's a,
He definitely gives me like early Spinner vibes.
and
So
I have another crack ship, but like you probably won't like fully like
I still want to hear it.
it's not fully evolved yet, like for you, but like my
Okay.
crack ship is Joey and Lucy.
Okay. I think she's too good for him.
Oh, definitely. But I mean, Joey like is just adorable,
I
and
also I also think Caitlin's too good for him. So
well, I mean, like, yeah, but if you think of Joey in like the TNG days, think about like how much of a better person.
you ship Joey and Lucy in those days? In the later seasons or in the earlier seasons?
In the
Or just in
earlier
general?
season.
In the earlier seasons?
Yeah.
I'll keep that in mind.
Because I
I don't
think
know.
that like if Joey actually had somebody who would call him on his shit
Yeah.
and who
Oh
could
yeah.
keep him in line.
I agree. He does need like a not mean girlfriend, but a stern girlfriend.
Yeah, and like Caitlyn's just Caitlyn, like
Yeah, I'm excited. I don't know their dynamics. Caitlyn hasn't really spoken yet,
yeah, yeah.
so it's very. I'm waiting for Caitlyn and Snake to speak because they really
Other
haven't
than
shown themselves yet.
oh yeah, all you've gotten is My name is Snake.
Make no mistake. That's all I've gotten from Snake. I didn't even know that I guess he was in the background of this episode, apparently.
Yeah, like he like walked into like the classroom.
Yeah, I want to see Snake and Spike and the characters that I know outside of like the background. That would
Yeah,
be
some of
nice.
them don't really like talk until they get like an episode.
I'm excited for them to get an episode. Is there anything else in the outline that you want to talk about?
I want to ask you one of your questions.
Go for it.
All right. Would you rather go to the dance with someone like Joey
Okay, yeah, we'll do the would you rather's. I would rather go to the dance with somebody like Wheels. I think he's the sweetest boy. I think that is the answer. Some people like assholes, but I want Wheels. I don't need somebody cocky. Give me sweet. I think it's so funny that Steph keeps calling Wheels sexy also, because I'm like, he's the least sexy, like outside of him just being a child, he's not, he is adorable. He's a little teddy bear. That is not the word I would use to describe in any sense of the word.
Oh, I know, I know.
What about you? Wheels or Joey?
Joey.
Okay, yeah, I said some people like assholes. Why?
He makes me laugh.
Fair.
He makes me laugh. And I like his fashion sense more than I like Will's fashion.
Okay, fair.
Minus the
Apparently,
Hawaiian shirts.
that is his fashion sense, though. He's got the
Okay, but
hats.
I like his jeans and his sneakers and his vest.
He's definitely more styling. Wheels apparently also does not smell good. His aftershave is commented on several times, which I thought was really funny. I like a sweet boy, although I don't know if Wheels could have carried a conversation.
Yeah, Will seems a little shy.
He's very shy, but now you're making me question if Joey's a better choice. Like, would I be bored? I might end up bored with Wheels. I might, you know what? I'll stick with Wheels. You can have Joey, but I might be like looking across the dance floor, like questioning my choice a little bit, because you're probably like having a crazy, crazy fun time with Joey, and I'm just like, Wheels is we she when Joey's like, oh, Stephanie wants my body. And Wheels is like, she's nice. He's very tame.
He was so sweet. He really was.
He is. There's value in being sweet.
There is. There definitely is.
Would you rather sing the Degrassi Junior High theme song or whatever it takes at karaoke? Are you a
Degrassi High
karaoke
theme song.
person? What?
I am not.
You're getting a little
Degrassi
high.
High theme song. I would have to be stoned.
Fair. You're getting a little stoned.
Yeah. Degrassi High theme song.
Degrassi High theme song or Degrassi Junior High?
Degrassi Junior High theme song.
Okay, because yeah, I don't know the Degrassi High theme song yet. It's different, right?
Yeah, that one I don't even know all the words to. You think that I would? It's
Is it
just
not? It's not a bop. It's not a jam.
it is. It's just it's
What does it sound like? I've heard it. I'm like,
it's like wake up in the morning, gotta catch the feeling.
oh, so it's just like a remix.
Yeah,
Just like a twist on the Degrassi Junior High theme song.
yeah, it's just
Mm,
not as cool.
mm.
They tried to make it like more
It's like one of
this
those later
voltage,
versions of
I
whatever it
guess.
takes.
Yeah, and it didn't hit as hard as the goofy junior high one.
I love the Degrassi Junior High theme song.
Right?
It's so cute.
I know.
I know all the words already.
And it
And
just gets stuck in your
it
head.
gets so stuck in my head.
I'll be like in the supermarket. I'll be like, wake up in the morning.
Feeling shy and lonely. Gee, I gotta go to school. I literally think about that like all the time in the morning time. I'm just like, I'm feeling shy and lonely. So I want to ask you, you chose that, but for whatever it takes, do you have a favorite version of whatever it takes? Are you a closing credits acoustic? I love making fun of that one. I love it, but I love making fun of that one too. It's so fun.
I'd probably say the second or third season.
The like gospel version.
No, the one where it goes from being the little kids singing to the adults singing.
Huh. I'll have to go and listen because I don't remember. I remember the season 1 very well, and then I remember when they switched it to the instrumental. Like I really don't remember the I feel like a fake fan. Like I don't remember the
Season
season.
one is like all the kids are like,
Yeah, I
well,
know. I love that one. That one's the iconic one. That's the that's the gospel version. That's what I
and
call it.
then like season like I think like 6 or 7 is like meow, meow.
The instrumental version where Jay throws his hat.
Yeah, and I'm like, no, I don't like that one.
I like that one. I like the season 10, the Alexis Johnson version too, which is
I don't
an
like that
unpopular.
one.
You don't?
No.
Valid. It might just be nostalgia and that I loved Instant Star, so I like Alexis Johnson.
Oh, see that might be why I don't like it.
Did you not like Instant Star?
No, I didn't like her because she ruined So Weird.
I don't know what that is. What is so weird?
Before she went on Instant Star, because
Yeah.
she was the main character on Instant Star, right?
Yeah, Jude.
She was on a Disney show called So Weird.
Is this a Canadian thing?
It was a Disney show.
So weird. Oh, I
Yeah,
guess was I too young for this?
probably.
Yeah.
And it was on the late 90s.
Okay, yeah, I was not.
It was
I
like
was
late 90s, early 2000s.
busy.
It had 3 seasons,
I was busy
and it
being
was
a
basically
child.
like the Disney Kids version of the X-Files.
I am looking at it right now. I've never. Oh, I
It's
think I've seen.
it's on Disney Plus.
How did Alexis Johnson ruin it?
He took Fiona's place when she left the show.
Oh, she was just like a replacement actor who wasn't as good.
I mean, some people like her on it, but I think they like her as an actress, and the show wasn't the same for me.
You're anti Alexis Johnson.
I am very much so.
That's okay. I see it. I see why.
Yeah,
It's okay. I am partial to that version of the theme song, but it might just be nostalgia and the
and I
fact that
totally
I
respect that. Like everybody's
yeah,
got their own thing, you know.
that's what I love. Everybody's got their own favorites. They've got their own view that they filter the show through, and that's what I love, and that's what I'm excited to keep talking to people about.
As long as no one's favorite is Johnny DeMarco.
What about Bruce the Moose?
Well, he kind of helped beat up Jane, never apologized for it, never took accountability for it, and no one ever brought it up again.
Who else helped beat up Jane? It was Derek, Bruce. Who else was in there? Also, do you think Bruce the Moose is gay?
I don't.
Valid. My headcanons don't always make sense, but
Hey, if they
I
make
love them.
sense to you, that's what
They make sense to me. It makes sense. There's a lot of lore in my brain that convinces me that Bruce the Moose is in love with Johnny DeMarco.
he could be. He totally, and it could be one of those things where, it's not that he's gay, it's just that he's in love with Johnny DeMarco.
That's right. He's not
Because
he's
some people aren't. I mean, who created the spectrum again? What's his name?
Kinsey?
Yeah, the
The
Kinsey
Kinsey
spectrum.
scale?
Yeah, the Kinsey
Yeah,
spectrum.
maybe he's just a 2.
Yeah,
He's Johnny sexual.
yeah, exactly.
So valid. It does not yeah, you're right. It doesn't have to be one of I do jump to like this person's gay, but like they could just be a little queer.
I personally think that Paige is a little gay for Holly Sinclair.
You mean Heather
I mean, not
Sinclair?
Holly Sinclair, Heather Sinclair.
I think they might have had a little falling out in middle school.
Over like
A little Voula Steph situation, if you
I think that
will.
they were probably playing like Spin the Bottle or Truth or Dare or something, and they had to kiss, and one of them liked it, and
Paige liked it. Heather, no, they both liked it. Paige was more willing to admit that she liked it. And Heather, it's a it's a Regina George and Katie, or not Katie, Regina George and the other girl situation in Mean Girls. What's her
Janice,
name?
Janice
Janice.
Ian.
Yes, where she's like, "You're a lesbian." It's like, "Girl, you're a lesbian." Regina George is a lesbian, by the way.
Why
You're
are you
getting
so obsessed with me?
yeah, because you're a y'all they're lesbians. I'm excited. You know there's a Mean Girls musical movie coming out soon?
I do. I did hear
I'm
that.
excited about that. We're completely off track, but that's okay. And we'll see. I'll probably keep some of this in because I don't care about being off track. I don't care. It's a fun little chat. I enjoy just kind of going all over the place. It's not a super structured podcast thing, and I'll make it make sense
Yeah.
in the edit. Did you have any other stuff that you wanted to discuss in general or from the outline? Or because I'm glad you brought up the would you rather question, two
Would
of
you
them.
rather? I think are kind of fun.
They're
Like,
really fun. I didn't come up with any more for this episode.
I
So
got one for you.
yeah, go for it.
All right. Would you rather go to the dance with Stephanie K or with Lucy?
Lucy. I don't need somebody throwing up on me.
Well, she
Lucy's
did take you
cool.
to the bathroom.
Yeah, she did, but then she's in the bathroom all night. I'm gonna chill with Lucy. Or I'll
But
chill
she
with
would
Voula.
tell you you're so hot.
True. She would tell me I'm so sexy before disappearing and throwing up.
There you
She is a hot mess. There's no other way around that. She's just one more thing about Stephanie K. She was drinking like cream. She was saying, "Oh, it's like a milkshake." So it was creamy. I think creamy liquor is so disgusting. And the
go.
fact that she was like drinking that and probably mixed like I don't trust creamy liquor. I think it's so disgusting. So when she was saying it's like a milkshake, it was like Kahlua or something like that. I'm like,
Yeah,
nope,
it was like Kahlua or Bailey's or creme de menthe.
no, thank you. It was disgusting. Just the thought of that made me like nauseous.
You want to know what it would have been if it was my generation?
What?
Jaeger.
I've never had Jaeger.
I refuse to drink it.
I know it's disgusting.
Yeah, it tastes like black licorice.
Is it like flavored like black licorice or does it just taste like black licorice?
I think it just tastes like black licorice.
Okay. I didn't know if it was like an intentional, because some people want things to taste like black licorice.
Yeah, no, my generation was like when I was in high school, like all of my friends were obsessed with Fireball, and
Fireball, I understand. Jaeger,
I hate cinnamon too.
I don't like cinnamon either. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast, Jay. We had a great time chatting. Clearly, we have talked for almost 2 hours. I'll have to cut some of it out for time, but I had an amazing time the entire time. I was so glad to have you here.
I was very happy to be here, and I completely understand. I had a tendency to ramble, so I apologize.
No, it's all good stuff. I'm just for the listeners' sake, I will keep some of this conversation for just us, and it'll be a great little memory. Yeah, thank you. I had an amazing time chatting with you, and I can't wait to have you on to talk about another episode at some point. Is there any episode? I'm not giving you a chance to reserve an episode necessarily, but is there any episode that sticks out to you that you would maybe want to talk about later on?
Not think of the name of it, and I don't want to tell you what it's about. So
Okay, fair. All right, so we'll keep that a mystery and we'll talk about it at a later date. I'm
it
excited
is
to
a
talk
Rick
about that.
episode.
It is a Rick episode. Yeah, I'm excited to meet Rick and I'm excited to learn more about him because as you said, that's your favorite character and I have not even met him yet. I know Craig Driscoll. We're buddies online, but I don't know his character at all.
Oh
So
yeah, Craig is awesome. He's one of the coolest ever.
he's really nice. He's been really cool
Yeah.
to me on social media. Is there anything that you want to like plug or promote on here?
Yeah. I am a moderator for an amazing Facebook group.
I'm part of
It,
this. Yeah.
it's a great group, right?
It comes up on my Facebook all the time.
It is called It's 2023 and Degrassi is still on my mind. And I have a meme page on Instagram called Degrassi Meme Mashups.
Yep.
I have a backup called Degrassi Meme Mashup. And yeah, that's about it with me.
Yeah, I love your Degrassi memes. You pop into the Discord every once in a while to share your memes, and I always enjoy them. I mean, they pop up on Facebook too, but that's like your little contribution to the Degrassi Kid Discord, and I love that.
Thank you very much.
Of course, I loved getting to catch up with you. It has been a while. We haven't really gotten a chance, like I said, since the book club, so we'll have to come up with an excuse to catch up again because I had a really good time. Awesome.
Love to catch up with you more.
Me too. Yeah. So thank you so much, Jay. I loved chatting with you and I look forward to chatting with you again soon. Thank you for coming on Degrassi School's End.
Thank you for having me. You have a wonderful day.
Thank you. I just want to say one quick round of thank yous again. First of all, to Jay for being such an amazing second guest for my podcast. Was amazed I was not surprised, but I was amazed by your enthusiasm and how comfortable and just great the conversation went. So thank you for coming on. Thank you for everybody who has listened and given feedback and all of the above. You guys mean so much to me, and it means so much to me that anybody even wants to listen to what I say. I'm really looking forward to releasing more episodes. Next month is going to be huge and really freaking exciting. Next month, I will be in Toronto with not only Degrassi Kid, but a bunch of our online friends. We are going to visit some Degrassi sites and just have an amazing, memorable time. So you guys are going to want to check out our social media to see what's up with that. And yeah, I am very much looking forward to my next episode. I know who I'm recording with, and I think you guys are gonna like it. I think you guys are gonna like them. All right. Goodbye, Panthers. I will talk to you soon. Have a great day, and if you're listening on Patreon, please leave a cute little comment letting me know what you thought of this episode. It would mean so much to me. And if you're listening on any other podcasting platform, please leave a review. That does so much to help boost my podcast and make my Degrassi dreams come true. Bye, Panthers. This has been a Degrassi Kid podcast.